All right, let's see. Let's see if this works. I'm doing this myself. I think we're all right. Let's see. Let's invite Straza. Invite. All right, let's see. Are you guys able to hear me? I think you guys are. Let's see if there's anything going on in the chat. Let's talk to the folks. Hey, I'm in. Are you guys there? There he is. Hey, Straza, you are live on the global internet. Show us the butt again one more time.
Me? Can you hear me all right?
Dude, you sound. Hannah says that we're looking good. Hannah, are we live on whatever places you want to be live in, like Facebook, or this is way above my pay grade?
Are we on?
Yeah, yo, look at my fancy mic. Look at this. Is this thing sweet or what?
So it just moves that way.
Woo! This thing is. I had one of these in my old desk, but this one's like way more fancy.
You know what I really want to know about? Not the mic, but the picture behind you, because this is some sort of Super Nintendo game that I apparently have not heard of that involves Mike Tyson.
Oh
so
my
I need
God,
to buy it.
Such a
now.
baby. Super Nintendo. This is Nintendo OG.
Okay,
Super Nintendo. Get the hell out of here with your Super Nintendo.
If you like old Super Nintendo games or N64, you can actually buy a cable that connects into the back of your N64 or your Super Nintendo and plugs HDMI into your television. Graphics are beautiful.
That's so cool. I definitely want to do that.
I got one.
Definitely.
It works well.
I've thought about it. Oh my God, I'm totally doing that.
Yeah, and you can play all the old games. We do it. Let's talk charts.
You can't drop it. Hold on.
Are we live on Facebook?
Yeah, we're good. By the way, can we talk real quick before we get into the charts about this this brisket?
I want to hear about it. Have you eaten all of it yet? Or?
Oh my God. No, I haven't eaten. No, man, this thing's humongous. This thing's like a $200 freaking brisket. It's like humongous. So for you guys, I ordered. I'm obsessed with this app, Gold Belly, where you can order. You can support your local restaurants. And you can order food. So in this case, I ordered brisket from Lexington, Texas. The other day I was having gumbo from New Orleans, or, you know.
To be clear, he's not supporting his local restaurants.
I'm supporting other people's local restaurants. I'm supporting my local restaurants too, for the record, but not in this case. I'm supporting other people's local restaurants, and they deliver you stuff from around the country. Man, this brisket is called Snow's Barbecue in Lexington, Kentucky. Shout out to the Snow family. I don't know if that's their last name. I don't know why it'd be called Snow in Lexington, Kentucky, other than the fact that their last name is Snow. That would make sense.
And then where was the chicken shakes that you ordered from the other day?
Nashville. So by the way, how does the audio sound? Does it sound nicer? Do I sound like a...
Sounds great to me.
Really? Does it sound better, or is it the same?
The peas aren't popping like they used to.
Oh, so that's good.
Yeah.
So Hannah was like... Explain who this Straza guy is. Why is JC talking to this guy who's not Jeremy?
He brought in the backups for today.
Yeah. We're bringing in, you know, call to the bullpen over here. Jeremy's like pretty cool. I don't know, like he's like big time. So he gets like invited to like fancy parties. He wears like
I don't go to any parties. You know? So I'm available.
He's fancy, so he's doing his fancy people thing, you know. I don't know if it's like secret society or something. I don't really know what's going on, but he's doing his thing. So we're calling in the reinforcements. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll just have Straza, it'll be fine. He's like Straza needs to get a better tan to keep up with my Hawaiian, you know, because he's Hawaiian, so he's got a sweet tan.
He has a much better tan than me. I have no excuse for that.
He lives in Laguna. You live in Key West. There's a lot of sun down there. But you're a white
Yeah.
boy from Connecticut.
Yeah, but I have Italian skin to a degree.
Better than the Irish skin.
Oh, my
The
wife
pink in the
goes
sun, the
outside.
Bruni skin.
Yeah, Bruni needs
Gone.
SPF 100.
All right. All right. So listen. So basically the way this works is Jeremy always tells me, it's like, all right, so this is JC, and JC works at All Star Charts, and JC is looks at markets from all over the world and talks to clients and talks to different traders and PMs, and Jeremy does his whole spiel about who JC is. And then Jeremy says, well, and then JC told me to buy gold, and I bought gold, and that was great. And then I have to tell him, be like, and then I reiterated that the gold trade worked out so well. But Jeremy had been asking me about gold every time we hung out for like a year and a half. And I'm like, wait till GDX takes out 31, wait till gold takes out 1580, I mean,
Yep.
You remember the same numbers as you and I talked about forever.
Yeah.
So the lesson is that Jeremy was patient. I don't know if he actually was or not, but I certainly told him to be patient. And, more so than the win on the upside, I think the patience was the real value there, right? Remember? The opportunity cost that whole time.
Well, I mean, when gold paused, last year after the breakout, when you made that call, I think it was September, about the commercial hedgers, and what was it? It was spot gold was revisiting those 2010, 2011 lows.
Yep.
So there was some overhead supply there, and we just said, this is going to take some time, and it's going to need to digest the recent gains. And I think it went sideways for 3 or 4 months. And like you said, opportunity cost all day. It had a real sharp drawdown. If you're in the minors, you had to stand through a 50 50% drawdown in March this year. And then it finally ripped, and it's back above our risk levels, and the rest is history. And you're seeing that happen with silver now.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pull up the chart so people know what the heck we're talking about. It really is. I feel like in technical analysis kindergarten, like on the first day, we talk about support and resistance. Like, yep. What do? We identify trends and we look for support and resistance. Like, I feel like, are those the two most important things we do? Is there anything more important than those two things? Are they the same thing?
No, I think it's trend following and polarity.
Trend following and polarity. Those are the two most important, not so much trend following as it is trend identifying.
Yes, trend identification and polarity. And then I would say the third thing that we focus on is relative strength. And that's, an overlay.
So trend identification, polarity, momentum, relative strength, those four in that order?
I would say, yeah, right?
Trend identification and analysis of price would be the same thing. We'd be defining it as the same thing.
But we love our horizontal levels, so that's polarity. We want our risk well defined. We want to be in the leaders, relative strength, and then them showing momentum.
What's more important, relative strength or momentum?
I would argue relative strength, but your answer might be different.
Oh, I don't have an answer. I hadn't ever really thought about it because we use them both. Like for me, like they're in the same category of importance.
Sure.
Here.
I guess in different market environments, you want to look at different ones, right? So at the lows, it was looking at RSI was a great indicator. Like stocks that did not get oversold in March, like Zoom, Teladoc, all of the high flyers, DocuSign coming out of March, coming off those lows, they didn't get oversold. So if you're watching momentum like we were back then, that was huge edge for us. But right now, with everything moving higher, you want to be in the leaders, you want to be outperforming. So I would be looking more at the relative trends. There it is.
Now listen, just to be clear, this is August the 13th. So the fact that we're looking at monthly charts, because these are technically monthly charts, so they're incomplete candlesticks. Just to be clear, I'm a ball buster when it comes to this stuff. So I gotta drink my own, right?
Yep. You would be yelling at me if I did this. So
I would be yelling at you if you did this. So I'm breaking all the rules just to show you guys. That's how much I love you, right? Because I'm showing you guys this. Can you see it, Straza?
Yeah. Oh yeah, show them silver now because I
Hold
think
on.
there's a great
So
analog.
hold on. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the breakout, right? So we were looking for this breakout. Hold on, let's take a closer look. So this is the long-term look at gold, right? So this is the consolidation that we think is breaking out and heading towards 2,500 to 3,000, right?
Yep.
Bigger picture.
Yep.
Shorter term, this is what Straza was talking about.
That level right there.
So this is what Straza was talking about. So look at the support in 2011, 2012, right? You see this? And then we broke in 2013. So that support turned into resistance in September of last year. September, October, November, December. I mean, you were there for 5 months.
And that's the polarity that we're talking about.
Former support turning into resistance. And then once it broke out, well, look at what happened. Now we're back at this former level of resistance. So now we're expecting some trouble. And again, to be clear, this candlestick here is incomplete, very incomplete. So this is just, don't ignore this red bar, this red candle. The end of this green one is the end of last month, which is what matters here. And then same thing with the gold miners, right? Got a massive breakout. So while sure, there's some churning back here, I think that the trend is still higher. I do think we make all-time highs in the GDX eventually.
And JC, at that same time when we turned short-term bearish on gold, the gold miners were running into that overhead supply also at, I think, around the 31 level, right? Go back to GDX.
This one?
Yeah, yeah. So at the same time that gold was hitting those 2010, 2011 lows, you know, and we were expecting some churn and some digestion.
GDX hadn't even broken out yet.
Yeah.
So hold on, Straza. Is this officially a JC Straza happy hour? Is this what we're doing here?
Let's do it. I got my my coconut water and iced coffee. Where's that? Tell me about that.
So this is Hermitage. And Hermitage is on paper the best Syrah on earth.
Where's it from?
Hermitage is in the Rhone Valley. And it's up on a hill. And there used to be a hermit that used to live up there. And that's why it's called, I swear to God, and that's why it's called Hermitage. And not to be confused with Crow's Hermitage. Don't drink any of it. Don't drink it. If you see Crow's Hermitage, don't drink it. Crow's, for all intents and purposes, means no. You don't drink the Crow's Hermitage. You only drink the Hermitage. Okay. And if you don't drink Hermitage, don't drink any Hermitage at all.
And how's the right way to pronounce Syrah? Because that's been
Syrah?
Yeah.
Syrah. Here, hold on. Just so you guys can see. Hermitage. So what's the right place for Syrah? How do you pronounce it?
Syrah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, like Shiraz, like the Australians, you're saying?
Syrah. It's like Syrah, right?
Well, they spell it different. It's Shiraz in Australia, same grape.
Oh, okay.
And then there's Petite Syrah, and that's spelled differently, and that's not even in the family.
Well, you're not supposed to say it with the H. It's Syrah.
Syrah, I know.
Okay. All right, I got it.
Petite Syrah or Syrah, yeah.
No doubt.
Um.
Back to silver.
So anyway, silver. JC, nobody gives a shit about your Syrah, bro. Get back to the silver miners. No, okay, so this is the silver. This is what Straza was talking about.
Yep.
This is an incomplete candle. This is...
No, that's about right.
So this support, you see the support this is in 2011, the same support we were talking about in gold over here. Yeah. This support here in 2011, 2012.
Which led to some consolidation.
Now silver's here.
Yep.
So to expect some consolidation here is perfectly normal. Then I think it goes to 35. Then I think it goes to 50. You know, that's what I think. But there are steps involved, is probably the best way to put it, steps.
And similarly, just like we saw with gold around this time last year, the silver miners are running into some trouble. They're underperforming spot silver. We're seeing a lot of the same things.
So these people are wondering, all right, so what, you clowns? What does that mean? What do we do with these things? I think what it means is, correct me if I'm wrong, Straza, I think both of them are in uptrends. I think it would be responsible to accept that there's going to be some consolidation. We've put on some option strategies to take advantage of that, selling some premium. Yep. you know, it just seemed prudent. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. It might be a frustrating trade for a little bit. Pedro's asking if this is live or pre-recorded. It is both, depending on when you watch it. It is currently live, but if you're watching it afterwards, it is pre-recorded, right?
There you go.
So if you're here now, it's live.
And JC, just to show people an even better analog, pull up SIL or SLVP, which are the silver miner ETF, and
Pull
you're
them
going
up.
to see. Yeah.
Pull them up.
Oh.
And then while you pull those up, we're gonna talk a little bit about the conversation that we had yesterday. We're gonna publish the video soon. Our video guy missed his flight. I don't know if you heard that, John.
I did. He told me
Carlo
today.
missed his flight in New York the other day.
We had a call today. I'm like, "What's up, bro?" He's
Yeah.
like, "I'm in the airport."
Yeah. You know, whatever. Dude, he didn't leave the studio until 2:30 the night before.
Oh my gosh. So did he stay an extra night with you?
No. I mean, he didn't was staying with me.
Oh, I thought he was staying with you.
No, man, we're not ghetto, dude. Like, you know.
I don't know. You got this big studio there.
He's a hotel, dude. Come on. Stick him in my basement, Giancarlo. Like in what is it? It was in Carlito's way. Put him in the bathroom. Put him in the bathroom.
You guys were hanging out in the basement the whole time anyway.
No, I know, but I'm not gonna stick him down there to sleep, poor guy.
I'm kidding. I didn't know. How am I supposed to know? We're all gonna go to JC's and tape all of our video content and have like a retreat there. That's what I thought. I'm gonna take the screen from you.
All right, go for it.
See it?
No.
I didn't do it right. Hold on.
Go to share screen, right?
I know.
See it? I'm new to trading, just opened an E-Trade account a few months ago, and I'm learning how to day trade. Is there a course you offer? Well, I don't, you know, I know a bunch of day traders. I don't know any old day traders. All right. What did it say? I know people who are old day traders, but I don't know any old day traders.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing. So we look a little bit, you know, I think it's a little better for the heart and the soul to look out a little further than, you know, before or after lunch, or, you know. So if you go to chartingschool.com, you can get anything you want that we look at. That's what we look at. It's a little bit longer term than day trade. We look at daily charts, not minute charts. Minute charts give me headaches. You look at intraday charts, Straza, and then don't tell me about it?
No.
Do you? You do, don't you?
Every now and then for entries, you know, if I'm trading something. But no, daily is about as low as I like to go. I'll look at like a 65 minute.
You're not looking at tick charts?
No, not anymore.
Dude, I walk into Batnick's office like a couple of years ago. I was in New York, and I was saying what's up to everybody, and I was like, I look at Batnick, and he has a 1 minute chart of the S&P 500. I'm like, dude,
how did I get any work done?
Financial advisor, compound interest and shit, and you're looking at a 1 minute chart of the S&P 500? Like, what are you doing, bro?
You should tell Josh.
He was sitting right there. Josh was cracking up. He thought it was hilarious.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So just like we talked about GDX running into resistance, which we could show you right here. So this was last year when JC was just talking about. This was fall of 2019. This is GDX. Just when gold was hitting resistance, we were saying, no, we don't like this here. We're going to chop around for a while. And if you look, this is a bit of a closer up chart. This is a daily, or this is a 1 week. I think you had the monthly, right, JC?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got people out of the fact that they would have had to endure this 40% drawdown in March. And then we weren't buying again until we were above this level. We got a nice retest.
Look at that retest, man.
You had every chance in the world.
I tweeted out that exact day that we were retesting. I'm like, hey, is this the retest or a nasty failed breakout? Or I think I just said it. In my head, I was thinking, or a nasty failed breakout, but I think I just tweeted out, is this just a retest?
Right. And then now that brings us to today.
How many weeks in a row is it up since then, man? So speaking of polarity, is that not like the best example of polarity ever?
This is polarity in a nutshell. Okay, so we have resistance, 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 a flush lower, we break higher, Then you see that former resistance turn into support right here, gives buyers a beautiful opportunity to get in right before the rip. So that brings us to today. We have gold miners hitting a logical level, you know, the 161.8% extension.
Struggling a little.
Yep.
No big deal.
They're digesting gains a bit. And then you already showed spot silver. Now these are silver miners. This is
right
global
back to
silver
former
miners,
highs.
SIL. And look at that. Just like we had this time last year in gold, silver's running right into a logical level.
You want to hear something? How about this, Straza? You're gonna love
that's a failed breakout.
What if I told you go back to those silver miners?
They're both silver miners. One has
either chart. It doesn't matter. Both charts look the same. My point is, you know what happened in the summer of 2016, right?
Summer of 2016, that was right before the election.
Summer of 2016. Forget the stupid election. Summer of 2016, silver miners peak. What happened at the same time? Interest rates bottomed.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. I didn't even think of that. I have a rate chart. We can talk about rates. Hello. Bonds just failed. We have some charts we can show about that.
I'm saying.
But are you building some grand macro thesis?
I mean, always, right?
JC,
are we always
Murphy.
Doing that? I'm just saying. What happened? There was a paradigm shift in precious metals in the summer of 2016, and bonds also started selling off then.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I can actually.
What does that mean now? For now, probably nothing, right?
Well, here, I have something interesting on that point. So what this is sorry about this. Blow this up a little bit.
Look at you with your PowerPoint. Who still uses PowerPoint?
Yeah, me. All right, we're gonna just look at it this way.
Why don't you just use Google Slides like we do as a firm?
I'm a Microsoft guy. So anyway,
what does that even mean? Microsoft guy. I like to make my life harder guy. Is that what that means?
No, it means earlier in my career, all I used was Microsoft Office products. I'm very comfortable with them, and Google's are slightly different, and Microsoft's are better. Sorry. Oh, so anyway, what we like to do.
Itai says that Itai says it's because he doesn't know how to use a Mac.
No, I don't want to know how to use a Mac. I have a machine here. I got a PC. I love Apple, but no Mac for me. So basically one thing that we look at all the time, and JC will do this with the SPY staples ratio. And what I've done here is I took staples, utilities, and real estate. They're all defensive sectors. They're bond proxies. Typically, these sectors will move with bonds, or at least relative to the market with bonds. So we've taken all those defensive sectors, utility, staples, real estate, we've equally weighted them, and then we've put them in a ratio over the S&P 500. Seeing these sectors break down versus the broader market is very, very bearish for bonds. It's also very bullish for equities. But you can see right here, the rolling quarterly correlation with bonds, it's broken down a little bit this year because bonds and stocks did move together for a little while earlier in the year. But if you look,
I mean, until now, stocks and bonds and gold are all making all-time highs. Think about that.
So I would make the bet that this historical correlation will eventually reassert itself, and you're going to see this chart here is a nice tailwind for interest rates moving higher and bonds moving lower. Alternatively, we can look at
that chart. Straza, flip that chart for whatever we're doing next. Whatever conference we're speaking at, or whatever conference call we're doing, or both in this case. So for the next conference call, what we should do is we'll flip this chart upside down.
Well, I got it right here for you.
Oh!
So there it is, flipped upside down, and now on the bottom pane, you're seeing a quarterly correlation with the S&P, not bonds. So when you flip this ratio upside down and you put the S&P 500 in the numerator, the defensive sectors in the denominator, when the S&P is outperforming these defensive sectors, it's generally bullish for equities. So this one ratio chart is giving us insight into both the bond market and the stock market, and we're seeing it jive. You know, things are really starting to click. Like you just said.
Did you just say jive?
yeah, we had this weird environment where bonds, stocks, commodities were all working higher together. And it seems like bonds just broke below our risk level.
Well,
Like you're
bonds
saying,
the loser. Stocks and commodities keep ripping. Bonds the loser, and rates got to start spiking to catch up with all the inflation. Five-year forwards make new highs. So there, you know, people, there's actual inflationary data in the bond market, not like these anecdotes about like student tuitions and bullshit like that. Like we're talking about things that actually matter. And the bond market is that.
And one of the strongest,
showing.
One of the strongest debt instruments in credit markets, you know, year to date has been TIPS. And they're a little bit special because that's really just bond players betting on inflation. And that actually does kind of work with the whole thesis of higher commodity prices and the reflation trade that we're starting to see, a move to more cyclical areas, rotation into financials, all that stuff. So
here, peep this.
Take the screen from me.
Look at that.
There you go.
This comes from my favorite technician. Is Jeff DeGraff my favorite technician?
He's definitely top 3.
Not so much top 3 in the world. I mean, he probably is that also. I'm talking about me specifically, my favorite technical analyst. He's got to be my favorite. Who else? John Roque, he's a favorite of mine.
But what about the old guys? What about Murphy and Ralph?
Alan Shaw, Louise.
Luis Yamada's on that list.
You know what I'm saying? I made a baseball team. I told you I had a starting 9. My starting 9, I had John Rogues playing second. I already thought about this. John, I got Charles Dow at center field, and then I got Edwards and McGee at left and right. So Charles Dow center field, Edwards and McGee left and right. I got Jeff DeGraff playing third, Rogue playing second, Luis Yamada behind the plate. And who did I have it short?
And that is all-star charts in a nutshell.
Dude, I swear.
I think Rogue would want to be shortstop.
I think I had Ralph was I had Fibonacci as 1 because in baseball 1 Fibonacci because it's 1 and 1. So how do you not have Fibonacci pitching? Right? And then I think I had Monahisa Homa as the player manager.
That's hilarious. But of current technicians, what would you say? DeGraff, Rogue?
Yeah. You know, I'm friends of Ari Wald, and you know, we have good friends that are really good too. You know, Verone and Sohn are great. They do great work.
Yeah.
You know, we've got some friends that are killing it. The Ned Davis work is fantastic. So anyway, the point, I want to show you this chart. So this comes from Jeff DeGraff. And these are 5-year forward. The expectations, the inflation expectations are climbing. That's that red line here, making new highs. So this is the bond market pricing in inflationary forces.
Yeah.
You know, people are talking about it, this deflationary spiral 1929 all over again. Like the data is telling you the exact opposite. I mean, the exact opposite. Straza mentioned the tips, right? These are derivatives of the same trade. The tips on a relative basis, 5-year forwards, the fact that interest rates now going up would support all of this, I think.
Yeah, interest rates going up. Also, you're going to see the long end of the curve outperform typically. So yield spreads are widening. That's bullish for banks and financials more generally. Banks and financials have been carving out a relative bottom. It would make sense for them to outperform here. And it's not just the bond market. You could look at the currency market. You could look at any of the asset classes. Look at Aussie yen. That's another reflationary asset, or reflationary forex pair, I should say. Aussie US dollar, Aussie yen pushing on 52-week highs. Australia is a commodity-centric country, and their currency is very much tied to base metals and cyclical commodities. So that's another very, you know, bullish feather in the hat for this kind of reflation trade that we're somewhat anticipating.
How about European banks are not making new lows?
Let's see.
European banks not making new lows. What about that?
I mean, what about it? I would even zoom out to like those 2011, 2012, and 2016 lows. I mean, they're above, again, polarity. They're above a very key level of interest that we could trade them against, frankly.
All right. All right, Mr. Head of All-Star Charts U.S. Equities. What's your official title? You're Director of U.S. Equities Research. What is your title? How does it?
Head of U.S. Equities.
Head of U.S. Equities. So it sounds so fancy.
I don't work at a hedge fund anymore. No directors here.
There's no directors here.
No directors.
Okay. Talk to me about some stocks, right? Give the people, JC, you got to give the people what they want. JC, right. You got to give I hear this all day long. JC, you got to give you and me could sit here talking about the fucking bond market for hours and nobody gives a shit.
Well, let's pull up some setups.
You and I could do this whole bond market, back and forth forever.
All right, we're boring people.
Nobody cares about your bond market, JC.
You want to get into some stocks?
So let's talk about something. Why don't you pull up the transport chart? I can pull up the transport chart while you talk a little bit about the sector rotation. I'll pull up this transport, the bubbles.
Yeah, let me show you the bubble chart of transports. Hold on.
I have it here.
Oh, you got
the pretty one.
Right? You want the one with the graphic, right?
Oh, you got the pretty one. I got the one before the graphic designer. I got the draft.
Loser. You want me to pull up the pretty one? I got it.
Pull it up, baby. Pull it up. Pull it up.
Why don't you show them what you're seeing in transports right now in the meantime?
Well,
give me 1 second. I'll get it up.
The transportation index, Jeremy and I last week, we talked about it. The #1 performer in July in the whole world was the Dow Jones Transportation Average, which is, I mean, geez Louise. When was the last time? I was talking to Catherine Murray today on BNN Bloomberg. And I'm like, transport. She's like, JC, because for months and months, I'm like, tech. Don't ask me about anything else.
Yep.
And today she's like, I saw your email this morning. Because you know how the journalists, they like you to send the charts ahead of time that you're going to talk about on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, I was surprised that you sent me a bunch of railroads.
Well, I mean, we listen to the market. I mean, just like with bonds, we were buying them above our risk level, and then 3 days
Show
later.
The chart with the pictures.
Here, I'll take the screen.
Look how pretty the graphic designers made them.
Yeah, we don't do this. We have
prettier the chart, the better the P&L. That's
I mean, things got to look nice. All right.
Katie Stockton always says, she's like, JC, I always just take way too much time making my charts pretty.
No, you can't.
Look at this. What do you think?
So what we're basically seeing here, and what we were kind of trying to point out to people, correct me if I'm wrong, JC, is that we have a huge disparity within the transportation industry. And luckily, the airlines don't carry as much weight as the shipping and logistics companies and the railroads because there's so many of them. And what you're seeing is UPS and FedEx. They're on the left side of this chart. What that means is they're basically at new 52-week highs. And they're at the upper end of the chart. The y-axis is measuring performance. And you can see UPS is up almost 50% since June 5th. June 5th is when internals peaked for the S&P. And these stocks are doing great. Basically, what did we say? We said trucks and trains, but not planes.
But that's because nothing rhymes with logistics.
Yeah, well, trucks is basically the shipping and logistics.
Oh, got it. So you put truckers with like the shipping logistics. Got it.
Yeah, UPS and FedEx, they're trucking companies. C.H. Robinson, J.B. Hunt.
Dude, I got some shady like Hondas like pulling up into my driveway. Dude, the other day my mother-in-law comes in and she like blocked in the car. She's like, "What are you doing at my daughter's house?" just Amazon, relax, crazy lady.
No, but I think you put out a bunch of great setups in these names. They are working. Everybody's delivering everything. This makes sense from an economic standpoint too.
And then, by the way, I have something important to say.
I got to stop my cat because she's going to continue to make this crazy noise in the background.
All right, go stop your cat. I'm going to say something important.
All right, stop it.
Here, take off your screen. Unshare your screen. Because a good point is that what I worry by looking at that chart, hey, Straz's cat, what's the cat's name?
This is Pippin.
Pippin?
Yep.
As in Scotty?
No, that was her name. That was the name that they had at the shelter, and I was like, done. It was like after like Pipsqueak, but we made it Pippin.
Got it. So you don't have like this crazy fetish about basketball players that sign bad contracts. It's not like.
No, I like Scottie Pippen though. I was down with the name.
All right, so listen. So one of the things that I worry about when I see that obnoxious bubble chart, and when I say obnoxious, I mean like the airlines are in one little corner, and then like it's kind of like they've been isolated. So what's the first thing that comes to mind? Well, these airlines clearly suck in comparison, right? Now, what's the next thing I think of? How is that going to come and bite us, and how are we going to get stuck on the wrong side of that unwind, right? Because if it's so dramatic, what happens if that changes? And my answer is that I've done the work, and there's just no evidence yet of that changing, right? I mean, we're just not seeing anything that suggests that we're going to get a ripper in the airlines on a relative basis at all. To me, the data suggests we want to buy the ones that are consolidating for the last few years and breaking out to new highs, which leads me to believe that the transports as an index will also break out to new highs, considering all these other ones, right?
I got a question for you. Do you think the transports beat the Dow and the Dow Industrials back to new highs? That would shock a lot of people.
They're a lot further, though, aren't they? What's the difference?
No, they're not anymore.
What is it?
They've really caught up. I think they're each about like 5% off the highs.
If they're equidistant away, which I hadn't realized, then
they're higher beta. They're going to beat them there.
Transports are going to beat them there. Could you imagine?
Oh, yeah, no, that's very much going to happen.
Talk about sector rotation, bro.
I mean, things change fast, which is why we have to remain flexible and not ever be dogmatic in our approach. We have no problem changing things up when the data changes.
And I encourage everybody to do this. There are 20 stocks in the Dow Jones Transportation Average.
Look at them all.
Look, how long could it possibly take you? How long could it possibly take you? And then look at the long-term charts. And then here's what I think. There's 20 stocks. It's going to be quite obvious which are the ones that are breaking out of bases and which are the ones that are nowhere near there, right? It's going to be quite obvious because they're going to look different.
Yeah.
I think we buy the ones that are breaking out of multi-year bases. I mean, if you want an inside look as to what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, that's what we did. We looked at all 20 and we said, okay, the ones with the 2-3 year bases that are breaking out, like those are the ones we want. Not the ones that are well below overhead supply and have all this work to do. Like, who wants that headache,
No, and I think, just the fact that if you look at that scatter plot or the bubble chart, the airlines are, in a 60% drawdown. They're totally underwater. You don't want to touch that. That's just screaming overhead supply and opportunity cost.
See, this is my chart. You see how it doesn't have the pretty pictures of the train and the airplane?
Yeah, so you got to get a graphics guy like me.
I got to get the graphics guy to come. I don't have that chart.
Here, let me show you airlines too.
But look at the airlines. They're all right here. These are it. It's crushed, man.
I just pulled up a chart of jets. You want to see it?
Yeah, show me. So this is the ETF. So this is the airlines ETF. Garbage.
See it?
Garbage.
It's garbage, but the point remains that even the weakest areas of the stock market, and this is one of the weakest, hardest hit areas since the COVID pandemic crash and recovery phase, right, that we've gone through this year. This is by far one of the worst industry groups out there. I still wouldn't short this. That's information, right?
It's the same argument that we're making about the worst names like European banks, like regional banks. They look like regional banks. Right.
So we don't want to buy these, but the fact that they're still above our risk level, they're not breaking the new lows, it can only be viewed as positive.
Here, unshare that and let's talk about yesterday quick.
Oh, you want to talk about some breadth?
I want to talk about yesterday, and so just so the folks know, the video will be out shortly, maybe this weekend. We argue about breadth all the time because this is a market of stocks, not just a stock market. And I invited the guys that I think pay attention to breadth in the best ways. We don't always agree. In fact, Thrasher and I always disagree. Every cycle we have disagreements on breadth. Like this is like a thing. So it's like, you know what? Let's just get on a call, all of us. Yeah. So myself, Mike Hurley down in Dallas, Strazo's on the call. Willie Delwich he's in Milwaukee.
Yep.
And Thrasher, he's in Indianapolis. So
Yep.
the 5 of us get together yesterday, and we just started talking about what we're seeing. And I think we all came to the conclusion that breadth is in fact improving. I think Willie was the one saying globally it's not the greatest, but there's nothing negative about what he's seeing. It's just not as strong as he'd like to see it.
Right.
I think what he said. I thought Hurley definitely made some good points. What was your favorite part of the call? What'd you learn?
I think the way that Hurley just kind of came in and started off and was like, listen, in the beginning of a bull cycle, you want to look for the thrust, that initiation move, okay? And then for about 2 years, he basically said, ignore the divergences. I have some great examples we could walk through, but I think we had everybody on the call agree that they saw breadth thrusts, and we're all looking at, different indicators. They're all somewhat similar, some overlap, whatever it might be. I think all of us agreed that we got a breadth thrust in either May or June. The ones that we're seeing in our indicators mostly occurred on June 5th. New highs, stocks overbought. We saw some of the highest readings in 10 to 30 years in some of these indicators. That 91. Is a breadth thrust.
1991.
What? Yeah, since 1991, there haven't been such a high percentage of stocks in the S&P getting overbought as June 5th. So basically what Mike said is once you get that move, right, and okay, this is the beginning of a fresh bull cycle, you're going to have divergences because we set that high watermark at a 30-year high. We're probably not going to hit it again. So you're going to have a divergence.
It's like impossible.
Yeah. I mean, if that happened again, great, but you can't kind of count on that, and it's not a negative if it doesn't. So that was my main takeaway. I thought that was great.
That's a good point. And then what about don't start looking for bearish divergences until you get that big first fall?
That fall day. That was a great analogy he made. And he basically what he meant by that, right? And tell me if you interpret it the same way, is if you're in a bull market, fine, you should be looking at new highs expanding and all that, but don't ignore new lows. As soon as you get that first kind of scary shot of new lows kind of hitting a level that, say highest level in a few years or something, that's when Mike says, okay, it triggers something in me. Now I'm kind of looking for the divergences now that we had that fall day is what he called it. Winter is coming.
No, I listen, I love the work that he does. I always tell you that. I thought that was a great conversation.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think a good segue on the breadth conversation. We're getting asked about the Dow Jones Industrial Average, a little bit above 11,000. Looks like some overhead supply from 2018, 2019, and early 2020.
He's talking about transports.
So when it comes to breadth, we treat this the same way, but we are reverse engineering the situation. So the way I see it is we're having a conversation about new highs and new lows, but now we're reverse engineering the situation. Of the 20 stocks in the Dow Jones Transportation Average, the ones that look the most like the Dow Jones Transportation Average, what are they doing? Are they completing tops and breaking down? Are they struggling at overhead supply? Or are they breaking through? And I would argue more and more and more of them are breaking through. Expeditors, right? Landstar, some of the railroads, UPS, the Monster. So what are these stocks doing? What they're doing is what the index ultimately is going to do. That's why we're betting that the index is going to break out.
Yeah. And I mentioned that in the post I wrote today. I just mentioned that the conversation we had last night. Because I was hitting on the fact that telecom stocks literally just made a new all-time high. A lot of people don't even know that they still exist. But no, seriously, the equal weight telecom industry index, the ticker is XTL, just made a new all-time high. So we were looking under the hood. I know you like Sienna and some other names in there, but basically the point I was trying to make is we look at breadth on a more granular level too. We don't need to look at these breadth indicators that everybody's looking at. We look at so many charts every week that if more and more charts are making new highs and more charts on my watch list are showing new highs, improving breadth or improving momentum characteristics, that's improving breadth right there.
Let me show you something, Mr. Straza.
Show me.
I got these people that are like, oh, telecom. Who trades telecom?
Yeah, I'm getting mocked on Twitter as we speak. I had to turn off my notifications.
Yeah, getting mocked on Twitter for trading telecom. You could send them this chart if you'd like. Yeah, I got a chart for you, Straza.
Throw it up. I got the transports ready if you want to look at them.
You're gonna like this. Yeah. tell you. People who tell you. People who tell you, Straza. Who trades telecom stocks?
Who's
trading telecom stocks? Who's trading telecom stocks?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, who's trading telecom stocks? Sorry, is this not sexy enough for you? Sorry that they're not building fucking rockets to the moon and they're just a boring telecom stock. Sorry. They're not building electric cars or making marijuana cigarettes or whatever the hell these companies are doing these days. Sorry.
No, they're just paying you a 5% yield.
Yeah. Yeah, what an idiot trading this thing. What a dummy.
And that's another thing that we've been talking about a little bit. You know, right now the yield on the S&P 500 is higher than the 10-year. So a lot of people that are, you know, looking for yield, they don't have to go to the Verizons. They don't have to go to these really super high yielding stocks. They can get a yield that's better than bonds in, you know, Walmart, Home Depot.
Some of the folks are asking, JC, what are we looking at? So I know you and I, we take this for granted. We do this all day. What are we looking at? We're looking at a 20, 30-year chart of Verizon up 4,000% exponent. This thing is up 8 times what the Nasdaq 100 is up.
Yeah.
8 times.
Yeah.
Verizon just crushing the S&P and everything in between. I mean, this thing's an absolute monster. So,
and again,
I'd argue smart people are the ones buying it.
This is total return, so it includes dividends. So if you guys are looking at price only, the chart might look different.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, if we did a dividend report, that could be a good column to have.
Yeah. Look, we'll even just get back to this decade alone. You know, you can even see even this decade with the Nasdaq finally breaking out. You know, Verizon outperforming across the board. I mean, it's just a beast. You know, the longer you own this thing, the better it's. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. This is the 20-year chart.
Yeah, and again, if you looked at just the price only chart of Verizon, you would think that you were losing money. No, you're getting paid a dividend. So there's something there.
Yeah, two totally different things. Penfolds Grand Hermitage. All right. I like it. So this is Kenneth. This is Penfolds. You're talking about an Australian wine that's naming it like as an homage to Hermitage. Is that what you're saying? Or is this a Rhone Hermitage, and that's a producer that's... Yeah, got it. So Penfolds doesn't do anything in France, right? I was like, this is news to me. Yeah, Australian. Okay, good. Yeah, so Penfolds, just so you know, Straza, wine nerd talk. Famous. I mean, that's... Ken, is that the most famous winemaker producer in Australia? I mean, I think so, right? High end. They might have some 7-Eleven brands or something like that might, you know, be popular. But in terms of the quality stuff, the Penfolds, they do like a Shiraz Cab blend that you can get pretty inexpensive. That is delicious. There are a couple, Kenneth says. Kenneth, one day we'll have a nice little conversation, nice little chat. What do you think? We're staying French tonight with my Texas barbecue. That's the way to do it, though. You take the best of America, and maybe brisket isn't the best of America, but that, I would argue, that's got to be at least in the conversation, Texas brisket.
What kind of wine do you even pair with barbecue, though?
Syrah or Zinfandel.
Oh, really?
Yep. Honestly, the only reason I didn't pair it with a Dry Creek Valley Zin is because I had this Hermitage that I just bought, and I really wanted an excuse to drink it. So Syrah and Zinfandel, those are the two.
Okay.
So I just went a little bit selfish in this case, because like this is such a beautiful wine, and I knew it was in there, and I just can't help myself. But like this is gonna be more expensive than if you do a Dry Creek Zin for $20-25. You're gonna get a beautiful 7-year-old, 8-year-old Dry Creek Valley Zin to go with that barbecue. Woo! And like Dry Creek, because they got these slutty Zinfandels in Lodi that are just like jammy, fruity, just like really just fruit bombs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the high acid, good stuff from Dry Creek. Big difference.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
JC, nobody cares about your wine, bro. More charts.
Do you want to pull up a chart of grape futures? Where's Bruni?
We're selling futures contracts. As soon as California says yes, the contracts are out. But I think I'm pretty sure just our clients are going to take them all because there's only 200 of them.
Really?
There's only 200 contracts. So there's not a lot of shares outstanding, if you will.
The supply restraint.
It's a supply restraint. I mean, and that's what's interesting about wine futures is that you can't like, it's not like upper deck baseball cards where they could just be like, oh my God, everybody's buying these things. Let's print a zillion more.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work that way in wine. Like we have a single vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon. Like that's it. There's an acre and a quarter. And we just clipped. So we probably clipped a few tons of grapes because we only leave 2 bundles in each vine.
How often do you get updated on it now that you're not out there anymore?
Every day.
Yeah.
I have a live feed of the vineyard.
I figured you would, yeah. Oh, I've seen it, yeah.
I've seen it, dude. It's like this camera. It's like super expensive camera. It's like this. It's like bigger than Giancarlo. Giancarlo like carrying this thing. You know what I mean? That's great. And by the way, Kyle. So Kyle's my wine partner out in Napa. Him and Giancarlo are besties now.
Oh, really?
Because Giancarlo's from like the country, like in Florida country, you know, wrestling alligators and shit. And
Jacksonville, I think.
And Kyle's that country boy, you know, because people think Napa, they think like these like fancy restaurants and expensive wine. Like that's not Napa. Napa's like overalls and dirty fingers. And my friends from there, like it's not the tourists going in there pretending they know everything about wine to impress their like trophy wife or, you know, whatever side piece. I don't know, you know?
I feel you. I've never been, so I'm still waiting to go tour the vineyard.
Yeah. The real Napa is, you know, they're farmers. They're farm folks. I mean, they got dirty fingers all full of dirt, you know?
A lot of land up there.
Well, I mean, depends where. Like in Napa, I mean, it's all Cabernet Sauvignon. I mean, they're selling, if you put Napa Valley and Cabernet Sauvignon on the same label, you can charge a premium for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's finish up before we go. Why don't we tell everybody what we're doing? I'm gonna drop the link for the Under the Hood. So Under the Hood, guys, is basically a system that we developed to notify us of, what were we saying? An increased amount of awareness. What did we decide on?
Increased awareness, interest, stocks that are getting attention from investors at a
all of a sudden.
Yeah, at a very, very rapid, rate of change.
So whatever interest was there before, now it's substantially higher, like kind of out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, we're looking
That's
at
what we want to be notified by.
A week-over-week basis. So when we see that surge in interest on a weekly basis, we're not saying, oh, we want to buy this stock. We're saying we want to look at this stock.
So what are we looking at? We're looking at the accounts on Robinhood.
Yeah.
The accounts on Robinhood that are buying it. We're talking about StockTwits. We're working on new StockTwits data, by the way. But right now we have the ones that are being mentioned the most.
Yep.
What about the TradingView stuff that we're getting? Did you see that with Louis?
Yeah, there's so many different sources that we can use.
And what about what's interesting, what I find fascinating about this whole thing is that from all these sources that we're using, how much overlap are you seeing?
First, I want to say to Jay, Ethereum, we recently wrote about that. We liked the breakout back in early June. I think to our institutional clients, we told them to buy Ethereum. Then in July, we got long Bitcoin. Ethereum actually just hit our first price target. We want to wait for prices to consolidate a little bit here at this 400 level. And if we break above 400, we're targeting new all-time highs or a retest of the former highs, which would be a pretty big move. What were you saying? I just wanted to answer his question.
So how do I drop in a chat to everybody?
Type message here.
Type message here. It says to all panelists, but I want to send it to everybody here. Oh, all panelists and attendees. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I just put the link there for the under the hood. So what this is for $79, you're able to get an annual subscription to exactly what we're talking about. So we're aggregating all this data. We have all these different sources and we're getting new ones. And I actually have a call tomorrow, 2 calls tomorrow. You're going to be on one of them. Yep. You're going to be on the call with the mystery man that we're not allowed to talk about. You're going to be on that one?
We have data sources coming from all sorts of places.
No, but are you going to be on that call?
I told you, yes.
Switzerland? Yeah, okay. So anyway, we have other data sources. So, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of crossover between them, and we just want to get a heads up that people are paying a lot more attention to something than they were before. If you click this link, you're going to get that, not just the list of those stocks, but then I think it's really important to add the human element. And that's where we come in and we say, okay, great. These people are interested in these 50 stocks. 30 of them are garbage. 20 of them are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
5 of them are really interesting. And then these 2 or 3 are like primo risk reward. How's that for numbers? That's probably about right?
And we'll lay out the levels for you. A lot of these stocks move so quickly, we'll try and get ahead of them and say, buy strength 5 points higher, and then these things will rip 20, 30, 40%.
Or we'll say these Robin Hooders are crazy.
Sure.
We're shorting the hell out of Nikola, right?
Yeah.
They're out of their minds.
We've made money on both sides. Can I show them one from this week's report, which is also a telecom stock? So it works in. So this is Inseego Corporation, guys.
And Rick wants to know that Rick is asking to get that. You're going to start getting it this week. So now we have the systems in place to deliver it. So actually, you're going to get an email tomorrow morning.
Yep.
You know what we should do, Straza, now we're on the subject? Why don't we just get, if you're signing up now, why don't we send them all the old ones so they can go back and see sort of what we were thinking when. I think that would add value, right? Why don't we
Absolutely.
just do that?
We have 2 months worth. We were riding Tesla in the beginning, Apple. Yeah, we had a lot of good picks in there.
All right, Rick, we got you.
We'll send them all over.
All right, let's do that. Let's just make one giant one for tomorrow so that everybody gets all the old ones. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, cool.
It'll give it a little background and context. So this is one that
I mean, just from an educational perspective, right? Just makes sense.
Definitely. So this is one that came up on our radar when I was doing the scans last week. This was really popular among Robinhood traders. It was trending all over social media sites. So look at this. This is Inseego Corp. This is a telecommunications equipment company. It's in the tech sector. Look at this long-term downtrend, nice little base relative to the broader market. It looks like we're just peeking out of this. So it's starting to show some relative strength here over the past few years. This is a long-term chart. This is going back to 2003.
You got to take off your crosshairs when you're sharing video.
I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, on the left. You see that all the way on the left. You see the T all the way left. Under the wrench, on top of the key, the lock. There you go.
Oh yeah. Okay, right. So anyway, we're going back to 2003 here. Long-term downtrend relative to the broader market. Prices are basing on an absolute basis. We have a well-defined level, like we were talking about polarity. This was former resistance, resistance, resistance. Then prices took a while to get back above it. Got a nice base here. This is a 10-year base. We're just now resolving above it.
Thing's going to 30.
Yeah, so exactly right. If we're above 1150, this could be a pretty quick mover. You do want to give it time because it's more than 100% move to get to 30 or 28 in this case, but it's starting to show relative strength, and it's been showing relative strength since 2017 now. So this is, this has been an outperformer.
Doesn't that baby look like Sienna?
It looks great. I mean, Sienna looks amazing.
The relative strength, I'm saying, I love that big base.
Yeah, that was a great chart, and that's in today's post too. You guys could read it on the website and see the Sienna chart that JC's talking about. But this is one that was in our Robinhood column last week and that we recommended. And this is what we're looking for, like JC said. We're not going to go and recommend stocks just because they're popular among, Robinhood traders or trending on social media or whatever it is. We're going to then drill into the charts and see kind of what we want to do with them. We might want to buy them. We might want to sell them. We might not want to touch them at all and stay away from them. So there it is.
There it is. They did a nice job with this, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm working on tomorrow's right now.
Cool. Well, folks, we're gonna leave it there. The folks are happy that they get to go and go see the old Under the Hood. And I'm excited for the future of Under the Hood because, man, we're getting some cool data. You know, the only thing that I kind of like is like a governor on my excitement is I feel like it's just going to be a lot more overlap. Like we're going to get cool data, but is it just going to be the same thing again?
I think it's going to be better because, you know, CNBC's now pumping, you know, the Robinhood popularity list. Everybody can get it on Robin Track.
Fine, but when we talk about like Twitter mentions, Stock Twits, you know, Trading View, you know, Stock Charts has their information also. Like when we start aggregating all this stuff, there's just a lot of crossover. So like when we talk about getting new data, is it just going to be the same names that we're already seeing, which is fine?
Right.
Or are we going to get like another handful, another 10?
I think I think we're going to see some different stuff on there. And I think it's better this way to look at multiple data sources rather than just Robinhood. You know, because like you said, we're looking for interest. If something's trending on Robinhood and is on the most popular list, then that can create like kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. So if we're looking at multiple data sources, it would only reinforce the list that we have and that we're really, you know, tracking the most popular names, the names that are showing interest.
At the end of the day, it's really just a heads up, and then we add the human element, which is the most important thing anyway. And in a lot of cases, with the names popping up are names we're looking at anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing I would mention too, is that there's this narrative out there that Robinhood traders don't know what they're doing. Listen, Apple has been consistently at the top of that list since I've been doing the report for almost 3 months now. Tesla's been at the top of the list. AMD. I mean, yeah, there's some junk in there too. Fine. But the majority of accounts are in Apple, AMD, Tesla, stocks like that, Microsoft, Facebook, Google. These people are making money.
They're doing better than a lot of hedge funds I'm talking to, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, don't trust that narrative if you hear that Robinhood traders are crazy and trading junk. They're not. They're trading some good stocks. So
sweet. All right, and then we'll have an announcement soon to make on maybe you heard it here first. Straza, you know what I'm about to drop? You know what I'm about to drop?
Dividends.
No.
What?
Maybe we're gonna do a gold and crypto conference.
Oh.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, guys, listen. We're going to come out tomorrow morning with this is Friday morning, so if you're watching this after the fact, but Friday morning we are dropping the latest Robinhood, Robin the Hood, right? Is that, you like that? Robin the Hood, Under the Hood. What do you like better, Robin the Hood or Under?
I like Robin the Hood.
Under the Hood.
See, Under the Hood we can apply when Robinhood takes its data away. We're still looking under the hood. That's
what I'm saying. All right. And then we're going to back and then whatever. So yeah, we're looking under the hood. We're looking for names. We're just looking for a universe of stocks that people are interested in a lot more than they were maybe a few weeks ago. And then from there, we dive in, and the ones that we're not already looking at every day, which is probably about half of those, then we'll dive in and we'll find the ones with the best risk rewards. And that seems to be working really well.
Well, it works really well because if they're on these lists, then there's demand for the stocks, and that's how prices work, right? There's demand for something, it's typically going up as long as there's more demand than supply. So we're looking at names that investors, you know, want to get into and have a lot of demand for, and typically, you know, that's a solid characteristic of an uptrend. So all right,
so we're dropping the link here. Go check that out. I will show it here just so you guys can see some of the stuff that we've done before. You could see some examples. Nikola, Workhorse was a beast. Plug. Look at these old names. Oh, look at that picture of me. How you doing?
Yeah, and there's more now.
Yeah, totally. All right, guys. Well, if you have any questions at all, you know where to find me. I appreciate it, Jay. And everybody, you guys have yourselves a good night. Straza?
Thanks for having me on. Cheers, bro.
Brother.
Later.